Hi there, Taurus. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for November. Relationships are very much to the fore in your horoscope as this month begins, with the Sun combining closely with your ruling planet of Venus. Now, they're not exactly conjunct, but they're close enough to be influential. Now, because there is a full moon in your sign on the 6th, and this is opposite the location of the Sun in your sector of relating, this combination could whet your appetite of what you'd like in your closest relationships. And if one tie, a romantic tie in particular, an existing one, is falling short of your expectations, then perhaps the full moon is going to get you thinking about what you'd really like. On the other hand, if you're fortunate enough to be in a good relationship, it can get closer. If you're single, for sure, you can start to think of more proactively about how you can change your situation if you'd like to meet someone. And the clue comes as soon as the 9th, when Mercury, the planet of communication, also moves into your sector of relating. And someone that you have felt perhaps more difficult to reach out to can seem to come more into focus. And it can get easier to come to agreements, even if sometimes it's about agreeing to disagree. And part of this is going to come from developing your listening skills, which of course are very important. But the other thing that happens, especially if you're perhaps slightly dissatisfied or you are single, is that there's a combination of energy in week 2, which sees Mars and Pluto combine, but squaring up with Uranus. So if you have been putting off something, or there has been a restlessness or unhappiness in the back of your thinking or subconscious around one existing relationship, you may find yourself thinking very carefully about heading towards the exit point in week 2. But if you do, it is going to be important that you're not too hasty in that decision, nor are you too ruthless, because when Mars and Pluto get together, they can make us very direct, to the point that we don't even realize how much power we've got, and that can see us behaving in a different way to normal. So do try to keep the lines of communication open, and do try to be diplomatic as possible, even if you do feel the time has come to tell some home truths. Now, outside of relationships, Mars and Pluto is going to arouse the more explorative side of your nature. So if you are feeling like any kind of change or new experience, or booking a holiday, this is a great time to go for it. Now, Neptune, the most dreamy planet of the zodiac, does go forward from mid-month, and on the 17th your ruler Venus moves out of this straightforward relating sector and into a much deeper, more mystical, and in some ways more passionate part of your scope. And that could, if you're lucky enough to be in a constructive relationship, see a more sexual element start to take hold from that point. And then on the 22nd, the Sun moves to join with Venus, and there is also a new moon. In a more prosaic sense, this is about being realistic about your long-term finances, the money you share with other people, and anything to do with business, entrepreneurship. And if you're someone who does want to make a difference here, then your imagination can certainly be stirred, because both Venus and the Sun are going to square up to Neptune in weeks 3 and 4 respectively. But I wouldn't be too quick to make any moves, because Neptune can distort the reality quite a bit, especially if you're trying to reach out to anyone influential, such as a bank or a lending institution. You need to come across as someone who's very dependable and credible, and Neptune can sort of twist reality to such a degree that whoever you're speaking to may not feel that your plans are worked up significantly enough for you to make a move. So you may have to slow things down a little bit, and certainly not be too idealistic. Now, from the 23rd to the 27th, Mercury connects exactly with Saturn, and this could be a real pinch point in a relationship which has bumped along the bottom, and you may have a decision to make. On the other hand, you may just be able to see the reality of it absolutely, totally clearly. But there could be a very frank exchange of views across those few days. And then Mercury moves into this deeper, more penetrative area, which asks you not necessarily to be influenced by people, what people say, as much as what they really mean. So you need to don your detective's mask as the month comes to a close, and be quite sceptical in some ways about what you hear, and make your own decisions if you're doing greater research and greater thinking about the real motives that you have and someone close to you has too. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Taurus. Thank you for joining me. Good luck. And if you'd like to tune in to your year 2015 horoscope forecast, please join me on YouTube.